All right, peeps, what's going on out there in Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide land? My name is TheSchwantz27, and we've got a special race for you tonight. It is a 2v2 co-op multi-world race. There is one seed, two different ROMs, two different teams. The top runners are running on the same ROM. The bottom runners are running on the same ROM. And items may be in another player's world. Average race time wins. I'm joined in the booth by Joker Mage. What's going on, Joker? How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I've mentioned on stream before that I do a lot of the Archipelago multi-world stuff, so it's really fun to get to do a comms for it and just show everyone what Worlds Collide Archipelago looks like. This is slightly different because it is a race and I'm used to just the full co-op, but it's interesting how we have this set up, especially with the average team time wins. But as you can see, the basic idea is that the two teams are going to be playing the same sort of seeds, and items from one of the players finds are going to be available for the other player, and we'll keep track of that as best we can.
Yeah, so what will be interesting is when it actually shows up, as we'll see here, that you basically have each team, so it's Team Hefe and Zelfer versus Team Christopher Warkin and Drinks Glue. The top runners are basically playing the same seed hash, as you can see, and the bottom runners are playing the same seed hash, as you can see, but collectively it is one seed. The two ROMs equal one seed sort of thing. So we're going to try and keep track of this as best as possible for you. When it is an item that is for the other player, it will show up as what's called an Archipelago item in the text box, which is basically just a rename card repurposed to be an item, because in Archipelago you have to send an item of some sort to the other player, so that's what we decided to do for it. But right below it, in between both of the teams' screens, is the log of what each player is going to be sending and receiving. So we will have that for you, so we know exactly what each of the racers get.
And we can see that Glue has already made use of that to remind us and say nice things about him.
Well, he's got that dog in him, right? That's something nice we could say about him. ... So, Joker, tell us a little bit about the settings that we're going to be using for tonight's race here.
So this is basically Ultras League Season 5 as best as we can do it in Archipelago. Archipelago uses a slightly older version of the randomizer. You'll see in the corner that it's version 1.2.2 instead of the 1.4. 5 are we on now?
I think it's 143, 142.
143. So yeah, so it's a few generations behind. So it's not all of the same flags that were available in Season 5 are going to be available for this. But it's the best that we can approximate, although we have also thrown in a couple additional fun objectives for getting that final Kefka unlock, namely letting Sid die and performing in the opera. So we should be able to see 4 opera performances and 4 feeding bad fish to an old war criminal.
Yeah, so as part of this is eventually going to be going into the Multithon Marathon. So it's a marathon of multiplayer games. We decided we wanted to throw our hat in the ring with a co-op multiplayer. That event will actually take place, let me pull this up, Saturday, March 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so mark your calendars down. We're going to be showing off Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide with the Archipelago feature. So we will be doing that at that point. So it is a charity marathon, so the incentives will be, or bid wars will be rather, let Sid live, let Sid die in order to unlock Kefka, perform an opera or not to unlock Final Kefka, and another one will be starting Umaro or not. So there'll be a couple of bid wars associated with that charity marathon, so be on the lookout for it. Again, mark your calendars down. That will be on March 16th. That's a Saturday at noon Eastern. We're actually starting the Saturday block off with a bang, or a quay, or a wark. One of those two. So
yeah. And so again, this is as close to Ultras League Season 5 as we can get with the older generator, older randomizer. So it is going to be 6 characters, 9 espers. Let Sid Die perform an opera to unlock Final Kefka, and then there's a tower skip that I believe is. It's been a while since I did that, and none of them are actually loading it in. I believe it's 9 characters, 12 espers, or 21 skip or 21 checks. I mean, does that sound right?
That is correct.
And it looks like we're starting off.
Yeah, so top team gets Shadow and Edgar and Celeste. Bottom team gets Realm, Setzer, and Mog. So we're going to have wildly different diverging sets of things to do here, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, and as you can see, Workin has already done the Gal's Father's check and got Ice Shield for their own world. So it says found their Ice Shield. And it looks like the text might be slightly ahead of what you see on screen just because of the server lag.
Yeah, so I'm trying to figure out who has... Oh, they have Celeste. This is already causing havoc for us in trying to figure out who has what. Realm and Setzer, and we got a couple of opera houses on the left-hand side because you got to do it to unlock Kefka anyway, so you might as well do it now, right?
Yeah, and the other one character was Mog, I believe, for the bottom crew.
Okay, perfect.
Which is why we see Glue going in and doing the Lone Wolf check. Or starting it, I should say. But it looks like Zulfer and Heve conferred amongst their self and decided to just do simultaneous opera runs for their team.
Do you think we could let the audio of it play? Let's see. Let's see if we could do that.
I fussed around too long looking at my characters.
Yeah, so normally it's hard to have game audio play with Archipelago because the racers are talking back and forth to one another, as you could obviously see. But we'll try.
Must I? Yep, alright. I did forget to take the memento ring off of Realm. I have to do that.
So you can hear our runners strategizing with each other, and since this is co-op, they are allowed to talk to one another as part of the rules. But that was part of the opera with some of Zelfer, because we love to hear Zelfer's voice. Anyway, Lazy Tater Gamer, thank you so much for resubscribing for a whole entire year. Huge praise to you. As I mentioned earlier, we are going to be involved in a charity stream coming up March 16th, and all of our sub money goes towards a donation for our charity streams. We unfortunately don't get to keep it. So thank you so much for your subscription. It will go to a good cause. And the Foul One also hit us up with a follow as well. So thank you so much for following for Worlds Collide.
Okay, and we do see that Workin did check the Figaro Castle Throne. It's going to be coming up on screen here, and that is actually a dragon horn for Glue. So if Glue has anyone he wants to set up as a jumper, he now has the horn for getting that.
Yeah, so you did see it came up on Workin's screen as Archipelago item, but we know based on the chat there that it was a dragon horn to Drinks Glue. So that's why we keep the little chat dialogue up in order to know exactly what our players are sending to one another here. So a couple of checks so far, and they've only been items. Do you want to kind of explain a little bit, Joker, about what items can be where in Archipelago?
So if you're familiar with the regular Worlds Collide stuff, you know that certain checks can only be characters, certain checks can only be espers, certain checks can only be items, or some combination of those three. Classic example, I think, is the Doomgaze Search Disguise check, which can only be an item or an esper. It's never a character. In Archipelago, because we're sending stuff all over the multi-world, as we call it, that restriction's no longer there. You can find characters at Doomgaze spot now. and you can even find your own character at Doomgaze, which is a fun thing if we happen to see it. But for the most part, anything goes now. So all the checks can be any kind of stuff. And so far, Workin has done 2 of those checks: Scout's Father's House, Figaro Castle Throne, and has come up with just items, one his own ice shield and a dragon horn for glue.
Yeah, so the interesting thing about a multi-world seed like this is that it knows about the character gating logic. However, there are certain checks that we tend to think of as very undesirable, even though they are technically not character gated. So for instance, we do have 3 characters right now. We could technically go into Kefka's tower and fight the Atma weapon, or the toilet Atma spot rather, or one of the dragon spots, and that might be required in order to progress through the seed. Hopefully we don't have to do something like that, but that's just something to keep in our minds here. And I'm sorry that the streams are so far behind what the text box pops up, so that'll be something interesting that we could sort of think about how to increase the delay on it. I'm not quite sure.
It would probably just have to be a playback delay in OBS or something. But this does show that these are, in fact, they are running the same thing, because player A sent a dragon horn that was at Figaro Castle Throne to player B on both sides now. So same item, same location for the same player in the multi-world.
Yep, so we did it. Thank you, Joker Mage, for help with the setup to get this to working the way that it should be working. So really nice to see that it actually works. Meanwhile, I haven't really seen a whole heck of a lot that we've looted. I've seen an Aegis shield, and I've seen some pieces of gear here and there, but not a whole heck of a lot that our runners have found yet.
Fire rod. I think they've one of them, I think Glue actually found a fire rod in Returner's Camp, but that's about and a few other things, but there isn't any like super exciting stuff.
Yeah, so
it's not that I've seen.
So just as a level set here, it is the left 2 runners, Hefe and Zelfer, versus the right 2 runners, Quastifer Workin and Drinks Glue. And the goal is to defeat Kefka. We're getting some new information here from Zelfer about what the Setzer check is. And it is a snow muffler over to Hefe. So
yeah, and Christopher Workin, because the top 2 do start with Celeste, was able to do South Figaro prisoner check, and that is actually an Esper. That's their own Crusader. So that is 1 Esper for Christopher Workin's side.
First thing on the board there. So another interesting quirk is that with this multi-world race, normally in multi-world, when you complete your goal, you release all of your items to everybody else that is in the world. That is not going to happen here in this race. So let's just say, as we have Boots and Horn in the relic shop there for Drinks Glue, the full Dragoon build. Wow. Anyway, so let's say that Hefe goes and defeats Kefka, right? Normally, all of the items for Zelfer would be released, but we're not doing that in this race. So there's a possibility that Hefe might go and beat Kefka before Zelfer has go mode, and that means that Zelfer's go mode may be locked behind something that Hefe has to do. So our runners have to be very careful when going to fight Kefka, because they don't want to fight and beat Kefka and then have to restart and load from a previous save point and then go doing more checks after they've already beaten the game. So it's sort of an interesting quirk that we may see play out in this run. We're not quite sure yet, though.
Okay, and we do see Christopher Workin going to do the Opera House, it looks like now. So all of our teams are going to be on parity for that.
Yeah, so...
Well, except for...
All right, so that is Crusader for Hefe there, so we'll mark that off. One interesting thing is that our top runners, they do have Celeste, so they can just turn around and do the Opera House Disruption check right here. So obviously Hefe did not loot at all before doing that, so he decided that he's not going to do that, but that's not the case with Questifer Workin here. Yeah,
it looks like Lou's taking a few fights first for scaling.
Yeah, so Shadow has Dance. Looks like Setzer on the bottom has Blitz. Realm might have X Magic or Dance as well. And what does Mog have? Mog has Steel. So, not great abilities there outside of Blitz.
Yeah, and you can also tell from the text that there's, so far as the checks go, the left team has made 4 checks, right team 3, and they're more or less overlapping. The only difference is the left side team has not done Gao's father's house yet. They went and did the Opera House early, I think, instead.
Yep. All right, so here comes Setzer's check, I believe, for... Oh, no. Blue has already sent the Snow Muffler as part of Setzer's check.
Yeah, again, it's still a bit ahead, so that was that
Oh, that's
check.
right. I'm sorry.
And so here on this side, we see that they just did Gao's father. So as far as checks go, they're same 4 checks have been done on both sides.
All right, so it looks like Christopher Walken forgot the song from the opera. You have to do the first prompt, then the second prompt, then the first prompt, and then you have to do the dance and you have to throw the flowers. That's essentially what you have to remember for the Opera House scene. So, good thing he gets it out of the way now instead of during the marathon. Thunder Rods for sale for Zelfer there, so it looks like he's going to go pick himself up a few.
And Glue found fire rods for sale as well.
Ooh, Enhancer on Realm is real nice. Where is that? Colingen, World of Ruin? Very nicely done.
Yeah. So, and those are going to be available to Zelfer too, but I think Zelfer already visited Colingen.
Question from the chat from Magashishama, or Magashisama rather. Do steel tables ever get shuffled with any strong items? So there is an option to shuffle the steals and drops from enemies. Both steals and drops are, shuffled and randomized if you want. In standard race flags, similar to this one, they are not shuffled. So they're vanilla steals and vanilla drops. But that is an option that you could do on the randomizer. If you go to the website ff6worldscollide.com, you could actually choose to do that in your own seeds if you'd like to generate it, which is, kind of a fun option. Shuffling drops becomes really interesting because then things like Katana Soul become not a big deal because you might not get the offering anymore.
Okay, so Glue is actually in World of Ruin Narsh. So I initially thought he was going to Narsh to finish off Lone Wolf check, but this could be a Dragon Hunt.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, right, we can get, oh wow, Thunder, Ice, and Fire Rods for sale all in that one shop that Hefe's in. Jeez. Anyway, so you can get anything, a character Esper item from any check. So that includes the dragons, because dragons count as checks, and that includes the Tritok spot, which is not character gated. So I think that's what he's going to do, is going to get a couple of levels here, then use one of those rods on either the dragon or the Tritok spot, and grab a couple of things here for Christopher Walken.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that because I think those will be the first new checks in a while. I believe in Archipelago, there's only, at least with the settings we have, there's only 65 total checks. So there's I forget, like 27 Espers, is that right?
Yes.
And then the 14 characters, and then everything else is an item.
That's correct. Yeah, so that means doing some math, beepity boppity boopity. There are 51 Espers plus characters. Nope, I did the math wrong. There are 41, and with 62, I think, or 63 or 65. So that means we're going to get 20-something dead checks. So,
but those dead checks could be very useful for yourself or your partner. And that is the Ice Dragon down. As we see, that is an Alexander Esper for Christopher Walken.
Nice.
So
yeah, so that's the Ice Dragon spot, but it was the Storm Dragon that actually got killed. So that's another dragon for Drinks Glue. So let's mark that for him. Oh, you got it? Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So currently, Christopher Walken is up 2 espers. No espers yet for Glue, though.
Okay. And let's see what Hefe is doing. It looks like he took off the Moogle Charm and is doing some grind fights. Meanwhile, Zelfer is in World of Balance Albrook. And hey, it's Ultros 1 for Glue here at the Tritok spot, which is perfect because he's got some fire rods.
Yeah, and as you can see from the text, it is just a vanilla Tritok reward,
Wow.
so that does put Glue on the Esper count as well.
Is this even randomized? Unfortunately, does not have Umaro, so cannot do the Yeti check. So, Archipelago, you basically feed it a flag set, and in this case, we have made sure that it is character gated, and Archipelago will follow the character gating logic, but given that you have another player's world, it might mean that you may run out of checks, and the other player or the other runner has the character that you need to progress through the seed. So that might be interesting in case that ever happens. But I think with Worlds Collide, there are so many quote-unquote open checks that are available to anybody without character gating that it might not matter. Zelfer, by the way, finding an Aura Lance for sale and already has boots and got a horn from one of the dead checks. So I expect him to go and sell some cash to buy it right now for his Mog character.
I thought Glue was going to do the Opera House performance, but no, he's still on dragon hunting. And we got reset on Christopher Walken, so I'm not sure what he was doing.
I think he got bodied by the encounters that were at the Opera House disruption.
Okay, yeah. So Glue is just hanging out in World of Ruin for now, but maybe we'll see him switch over and do the Opera House proper, and that way everyone will be on the same page. Okay, that's another dragon down. And we can already see in the text that is going to be a character for Walken. That is Mog. So sometimes one of the things also peculiarities of Archipelago Worlds Collide is that the items actually get sent to you on screen transitions, I believe. So even though it says it's sent to Mog, the player who receives it has to go in or out of a door to actually trigger the send.
Yeah, usually what happens is if you complete a fight or a battle, that will do it. And it looks like Christopher Walken is completing the Kill Sid objective, which is one of the objectives that you need to do in order to unlock Final Kefka. So for the Kill Sid objective, we have to feed him the slow fish, and that will remove HP from him.
That was a very expensive gem box at Zen Thief. That is a check in Archipelago, so that could have been something for Hefe, but it was his own gem box, and he just spent probably more than he can sell it for.
Yeah, that's quite unfortunate. So in order to do the Kill Sid objective, you want to find the slow fish. He does start out with 120 HP, and he loses 1 HP per second. So if you just did nothing for 2 minutes, you could also kill Sid, but we want to speed up that process by feeding him the slow fish. That fast fish there will actually add HP back to Sid, so we don't want that.
And Glue's exploring Albrook shops, and hopefully he's trying to find something that he needs.
All right, so there's Sid. He's dead. F's for Sid in the chat. So, question from the chat. If you save Sid, would it be a soft lock? So, there is a way to reset the status of Sid. If you go all the way to the top of the solitary island in the vanilla game, that's where Celeste jumps off of it. You could do the jump off sequence, and then you'll wash up on the beach with the bandana around the bird, and that resets Sid's dead or alive status. So if you accidentally save Sid and you have to kill him, that is one way you can do it, and you'd have to basically reset the status of Sid. Ooh, that is Magitech Mog.
And we did see Glue pull a Mega Elixir out of one of those Thamasa barrels.
Along with a Thunder Shield, which is really nice. So Christopher Warkin, with access to Celeste and Mog, could actually go get that Magitech upgrade for Mog right now by completing the Magitech factory. So we'll see if he decides to go and do that, because I would just turn right around and go do it.
Yeah, Magitech is pretty good early game, but fades off late game unless you get the upgrade.
All right, so we do have a boss at the Opera House Disruption. A lot of nasty fights up there. There were level magics and other things. And Hefe finds Ultros. So it looks like we have Sword Tech Edgar, Tools Celeste, and Dance Shadow for our top players. So pretty good set of abilities there.
Yeah, there's definitely stuff to work with in that. And Zelfer's almost through the Ozer's Mansion check.
Ruh-roh. Oh. Working with a wipe. Yeah, so this is one of the other interesting things about Archipelago. And maybe this is something we can talk about, consider changing for the actual race. The scaling is still based on your character's espers and dragons, right? But the fun thing is you can actually send characters and espers to your other player. So you want to make sure that you don't send too much stuff to your friend. Otherwise, they will run up against massive amounts of scaling very, very quickly. So
yeah,
definitely want to be talking to your partner about, hey, can you do me a favor and stop doing checks just in case the reward is for me? Here is a reward in its own right, though, for Christopher Warkin finding Gigantos in the monster in a box here.
Yeah, I think in my own Archipelago games where I'm playing with other people, I usually set it up to be either based on checks or based on party levels, depending on how much grind fights I want to do.
All right, and looks like Ultros 3 is finally down at the Opera, so French Vanilla Ultros there. And Hefe has gotten through that, so we'll see what the reward is here. Meanwhile, Search the Skies for Drinks Glue against Dataluma. So we'll see what's going on here.
Okay, so that Opera House is actually Torado for Zelfer. So Zelfer gets an Esper now. And the Dataluma fight was just in a Jay's Shield for Glue.
All right, Torado didn't look like it had very much on it, so unfortunately not a great Esper, but an Esper nonetheless here. And Christopher Warkin needs to start getting some levels here, and it looks like he's found a pretty good grind fight for that.
Yeah, the scaling can be pretty awful if you're not prepared for that. Usually in live races, it's not quite as bad. If you're doing like an async multi-world and you just put the game to the side or don't start, you'll find that your rest of your team has just flooded your game with like everything, and you're already at max level without even starting.
Yeah, that's never any fun. So that's why, sometimes we do it based on, as you said, the number of checks you have. And yeah, this is a fight where Warkin should just throw a Phoenix down at the Black Dragon and win. Maybe he doesn't realize that this is an undead mob, or an undead enemy rather, but hopefully he'll get through this. Meanwhile, it's our dabbing Yeti at the end of Owser's Mansion, so Glue will also be running into this one real fast.
And we do see Hefe taking your advice, even though he doesn't have Mog yet, but does seem to be doing Magitech Facility, and maybe only doing the first two, because doesn't know that Mog is a Magitech Mog yet.
Yeah, they have no idea. Where was it? It was that Dirt Dragon, so I don't think that Hefe is going to get Mog for a very long time, unless Zelfer decides to take the Dirt Dragon right after Owser's Mansion, because Owser's Mansion is real close to where Dirt Dragon is, because that's basically the route that Glue took, was Dirt Dragon, Search the Sky, and now Owser's Mansion right afterwards.
Yeah, it looks like Lou is just trying to get a few extra fights in because this is not an enemy you have to fight. You can walk around this.
Nope. No thanks, Pug.
One of the other aspects of AP of Archipelago Worlds Collide is that some of the areas get closed off after you complete them. So you can, in theory, get... I'm not sure if this is particular to Treasure Sandy rules or not, but sometimes you can get multiple checks from completing one just because it'll clear out all the stuff before it.
Yeah,
that may be only Treasure Sandy, though.
Yeah, it really only affects Treasure Sanity. I don't think you'll get the items, as you see Unicorn went over to Hefe, so that's another Esper for Hefe with Unicorn from Owser's Mansion. So Christopher Walken will be getting that sooner rather than later here.
The question is, does Christopher Walken want that at this point because of how the scaling is?
That is very true. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know what that is, so Treasure Sanity is a mode in Archipelago where every treasure chest can be a item for your other player or yourself. But the rewards are also shuffled into the treasure chests as well. So you could loot a chest and get, an Esper for your other player or for yourself. And it becomes a bit wild and unwieldy. So that's why we're not using Treasure Sanity for like a race setting. It's much better in like a co-op multi-world just chill game and not a race.
To give you guys an idea, there's about 65 locations in the normal AP Worlds Collide. So that's the 65 checks that can give potential key items. When you turn on the Treasure Sandy, that location count goes up to 321, I think, or 325. Yeah. Something in that vicinity.
A ridiculous amount. But yeah, so what was I going to say? Oh, so to your point, right, to make it so that people cannot, sort of soft lock themselves, when you leave an area that you can't go back into, like Floating Continent or Imperial Camp, you actually get all of the stuff from that area as well. All right, so a couple of updates here. We've got Shiva going over to Zelfer from that Magitech #1. We've got Drinks Glue sending the third Esper there to Christopher Walken. And question from the chat, Dataluma was in the sky, but then he was also in Magitech 1. That's interesting. That shouldn't happen, so maybe that's something...
those are different. I think, though, was that just different because the top and bottom...
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you, Joker, for pointing that out.
So Dataluma in Disguise is for the bottom two players, while I'm guessing Dataluma in Magitech is for the top two.
That is absolutely correct. Yep.
Because the top two have their own sort of ROM seed thing going on, but it's there, and the bottom two have their own. But it's going to be that the two right players are linked in the multi-world, while the two left players are linked in the multi-world.
Yep, that's exactly correct. So top players and bottom players have the same seed. I guess that's not the right word. Have the same ROM. So they're playing the same game, and the bottom two players are playing the same game. And together, it's left side versus right side, if that makes sense. It's I know it can be a little bit confusing when using certain terms, but that's essentially what we're doing. And nice heads-up play from Zelfer here. Those enemies, those Bloompires, have very low HP, but they have very high defense. And instead of wasting a Revivify on it, he actually threw a potion at it. And for those of you that don't know, undead enemies will be damaged by healing items. So he basically just did 250 damage with a potion to an enemy with very low health. I've never seen anybody do that before, and that was really, really cool heads-up play there.
Yeah. So our bottom two runners are both doing simultaneous Daryl's Tomb checks. Another AP quirk is that normally Daryl's Tomb is sort of peekable because you'll see the name on the grave of whatever is there. What you're going to see when they do it is just Archipelago item on the grave. So it's not peekable any more than any other check is, because that's just how Archipelago works.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great point to bring up, is that peekable checks are way less valuable in multi-world, because anything that is a reward for another player will show up as an NPC. So you have no idea if that reward is a character for your other teammate or if it's just a bad item for yourself, right? So it makes it very interesting. So this could technically be, a character for player one, but it would show up as something else. Now, when it says dragon horn on the stone, you best believe it's an actual dragon horn.
Yeah, that also means it's going to be something for your own world. So that's going to be another dragon horn for Glue specifically, because I think if it was something for Christopher Walken, it would say AP item.
That's correct. Yeah, all these little quirks that you don't think about until you actually start playing. So neither Drinks Glue nor Zelfa are immediately resetting out of this, which is very interesting, because this is not a boss that you need to kill.
Okay, and Christopher Walken has defeated the Shiva Ifrit fight and sent the multi-world vanilla Shiva to Glue.
All right, so Hefe is finishing up the Magitech factory here.
That Doom fight for what we know now is your own dragon horn. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I would have reset out of that. Unless you wanted to learn some spells, right? Then it would be worth it.
Yeah, and I guess there's also just, it does count as a check if you're hoping to get tower skip.
That's true. So sometimes in multi-world, I will do checks just to get a check count for what's called a hint, where you could actually hint where certain items are. But in this race, we have disabled hints, so you can't get any hints with our race settings. All right, so let's see where Drinks Glue decides to go after finishing up Daryl's Tomb. As it is Rexol on the first part of the Magitech factory here.
Yeah, it does seem like Hefe is doing the entire Magitech factory, not warping out. We do expect Christopher Walken to do the entire factory as well, because Christopher Walken does have that Mog.
Yeah, the other interesting thing, Joker, is that normally the last part of the Magitech factory is guaranteed to be a character or an Esper. However, in multi-world, that is not the case. It can be an item for you, it can be a high-tier item for your partner, or it can be one of their things as well. It could basically be anything. So...
yeah, and it looks like Glue is going monster in a box hunting. So it's found the Master Pug, said nope, but he also did the Lobo in Daryl's Tomb. So I think he's hunting for an offering.
What is he? Maybe we missed him picking up an item that pairs well with the offering.
Okay, we do see him do Moogle defense. He does have Mog now, so that is open.
Yep. And remember what I said about peekable checks. This Mog could be an item for himself, or it could be something for the other player. And it looks like Hefe finds a Valiant Knife for Zelfer at the end of the Magitech factory. So that is not progression, as we mentioned before. Guaranteed progression spots in the vanilla game can be anything in Archipelago.
And this this Chatternook spot is the site for number 24. So this, we do know that this will be a starlet for Drinks Glue if Walken can get through it.
And it looks like Zelfer is selling off a bunch of stuff. I mean, we already saw that he went to the auction house and got an Esper for Hefe. So we'll see it play out on screen here in just a moment, but we'll tick up Hefe's Esper counter. And Yick, this is not a fun fight for Glue here. Where the heck is he?
This is Moogle defense.
Oh.
So this might be one
right.
of the ads.
Absolutely right. Yeah, so the other interesting thing about the auction house is that Archipelago items show up in a treasure chest like this versus, you know, an Esper on the ground or something like that. Welcome, Gar. Thanks for the raid. Welcome in. Hope you get to enjoy some co-op with us.
Okay, it looks like the... is that Funbaba, the crane spot?
That was Funbaba at the crane spot.
Okay, Chatternook is down, so that Starlet is now on Glues.
Ooh. Ramu, the Esper from the auction house, has Ultima on it. Juicy.
Yeah, and we can tell already... Oh, I think the other auction house item, which we're probably going to see purchased soon.
some human trafficking here in AP Multi-World. We've sent Sabin over to Hefe from the auction house.
Removal defense and finds an economizer for himself.
Ugh. You hate to see it. Yeah, so given how prolific dead checks are in multi-worlds, maybe we think about either eliminating check skip so that we can see all of Kefka's tower, or we just have to explain, you know, the skip when we do the marathon sort of thing.
I mean, we could also potentially just set the check skip higher.
Yeah, that's true.
And again, the locations in the AP are going to be slightly different from the checks that are being counted by Worlds Collide. So there are some places that count as locations but not as checks, and checks that don't count as locations, I think. It's not an exact, like, one-to-one.
All right, so Christopher Warkin is going to go all the way through the Magitech factory. So what the heck was at the end of the Magitech factory? I think it was an Esper for player...
It was a Valiant Knife.
Oh, that's right.
There's so there's a Starlet at the end of that he already got. Then at the crane spot, it's going to be the Valiant Knife. But more importantly, that's a Magitech Mog that will be fully upgraded.
Yes. And Glue found the offering? No, he didn't find the offering yet, but he is looking in the monster in a box for it.
So this is the Moogle, the Lone Wolf check, and you'll see that your choice is going to be between the Archipelago item or the Archipelago item, again, because of the whole fun with not being able to peek the checks.
Yep. So Drinks Glue knows that there is another something for his teammate down in the World of Ruin Moogle mines. So we'll see if Glue decides to go to the World of Ruin and go pick that up for Christopher Warkin. Meanwhile, Hefe is... I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we do see that Lone Wolf 1 check, which is normally where you get Mog in the vanilla game, is just a gem box for Warkin.
All right. Meanwhile, Hefe is heading up to the floating continent, so there are 3 checks up here. And again, because of the weirdness with multi-world, these can all be anything. They could all be characters, they could all be items, they could all be espers, or any combination thereof. So Kefka at Narsh time, it looks like, for Drinks Glue, and Esper Mountain for Zelfer.
Yeah, meanwhile, Warkin is still just working through the last bit of the Magitech facility.
Yeah, so Mog is a huge play here for Drinks Glue, because he went and did a couple of dragons early on, and one of them resulted in Magitech Mog for Christopher Warkin, who is going to get upgraded here for the right-hand team. Meanwhile, the left-hand team is fighting Kefka and Vargas, And here's another boss that we've seen already, Cranes, but at a different spot than the top team.
Okay, so Glue did get Siren from the Kefka Marsh. So that's a good find for him.
Yeah, that's his 4th Esper. And it looks like Torado goes over to Hefe for Zelfer. So that brings Hefe's count up to 4 and 4 respectively.
Yeah, so you can see that Hefe and Zelfer are on the same team, but Hefe has like one more character and one more Esper right now, just because that's how the checks have unveiled for their team. And meanwhile, we do see that Glue is still the only one who's fought any dragons.
I think Zelfer is parked right outside of the World of Ruin Opera House here, so I think that'll be a Mog for Hefe. And that is Golem for Hefe.
We do see... Yeah, so we're going to go see the... I think we just saw... I'm not sure. I think we did get that Lone Wolf 2 check, and that was Gal for Workin. Or he's going to do that right now.
Yeah, so what's interesting is Hefe got Sabin while he was already in progress to the floating continent and doesn't have access to put Sabin into his party right now, which is quite unfortunate. However, I think after Zelfer sends him Mog, it's not going to matter much anyway, because he's going to want to put Mog into the party, having gone through the Magitech factory, right, Joker?
Yeah, I see that. Sorry, I was checking the stuff. Yeah, if he's already gone through the Magitech factory, that will be a fully empowered Mog once he gets it.
Meanwhile, the monster in a box for the top runner in the floating continent are Pugs. And it looks like Christopher Workin now at the end of the Magitech factory. Already sent the Valiant Knife over to Drinks Glue. So let's see if anybody can use it. Or he might not have it yet until this boss is killed.
Yeah, so far the top 2 runners have not been able to find any characters for the bottom 2 runners.
Yeah, so Zelfer taking down that Dirt Dragon, finding Mog for Hefe. Again, Hefe not going to be too pleased that he can't use Mog right away because he's stuck on the floating continent. Will he short circuit off of the floating continent and come back? I mean, he's got to walk the floating continent twice, but it might be worth it to pick up Mog and just insert him into the party immediately. So what haven't we seen from our runners yet?
Well, Blue is still the only one who hasn't done the Opera House-like performance yet, and that might be a good thing to try, because he's getting a lot of checks for Christopher Workin, who seems to be struggling with the scaling right now. So maybe go do the Opera House and take a break so that Workin can get some levels and catch up.
Yeah, because I believe that's another Esper for Christopher Workin there with Torado. Yeah, so we haven't seen the end of the floating continent yet. We haven't seen any of Edgar's stuff or Sabin's stuff yet either. And have we seen any of Mog for the top runner? I don't think so. I think that's where Workin is going now.
Yeah, we haven't seen Mog for top runner, but we have seen Moogle Defense and Lone Wolf for the bottom runners.
Yeah, so just as you predicted, Joker, Drinks Glue is going to take a break here and do the Opera House while Workin catches up in checks and levels. Alright, so Hefe is not going to return here. It looks like he's going to continue onward. Meanwhile, Zelfer is doing his second dragon and will be doing his Tritalk to get his vanilla Tritalk. So, interesting that our bottom runners are taking on dragons while our top runners are not.
I mean, I know from watching Blue's other runs on stream before that he does tend to favor doing fighting dragons just because it's experience, it's magic points, it's checks. Dragons are usually, if you got the right elemental matchup, not very difficult. Some of them are harder than others, obviously, but there's usually workarounds if you know what you're doing. And so fighting dragons can be a very safe way to sort of progress, not specifically in terms of specific goals, but just to make sure that you are ahead of scaling and are getting the levels you need for the final fight.
All right, so that's Esper number 6 for Hefe from the dragon at Zelfer's spot. This will be Zelfer's Tritalk from Vanilla Tritalk. Let's see what's at Floating Continent 2 here. And it looks like it's another Esper for Zelfer. So Zelfer is going to get 2 Espers quick in a row here from his Tritalk spot and the Atma weapon spot.
Yeah, the top player Floating Continent is really paying off because Hefe got his own golem from the Air Force fight where you're falling down, and then got a Phoenix for his partner at the Atma weapon spot.
All right, so Hefe going to finish off the Floating Continent here. Glue is finishing off the Opera House here by tossing over the flowers. And Christopher Warkin is doing the top of Narsh, which is new for player 1, I believe, for us, correct?
I don't think we've seen that yet, because Hefe just recently got Mog, if I remember correctly.
Right, while he was on the Floating Continent.
And we do know where 6 characters are for the top 2, because we do have 6 distinct characters on the top 2, but we still haven't found any new characters for the bottom 2 runners.
Yeah, and this is what might happen sometimes, is that everything goes to one runner or another, and there is a lock at Lone Wolf.
Since that's locked, that's going to be Christopher Warkin's own lock, I believe, and not one for Glue.
That is correct.
Yep. So that's 7 characters found total for the top 2 runners, and Christopher Warkin does have the character objective met now.
Yep, and we haven't seen any of Gao's stuff, so I would anticipate doing Kefka at Norse, then doing Lone Wolf, and potentially Christopher Warkin brings his party down to 3 to go do the Velt check. That might be some good synergy there. Meanwhile, Glue is finally done with the Opera House as Hefe is finishing up Floating Continent.
Yeah, and Glue I don't think Glue has done Kill Sid yet either, so that might be another thing to go do while we're waiting for Christopher Warkin to get a bit more caught up.
Ooh, Gawa jump and morph. Interesting. Oh, and there's Strago for the top runner at the end of the Floating Continent. So the top runner has all the characters now.
Yeah, this is extremely lopsided, and that's just how sometimes it ends up. But there's that's 8 characters total that we know about for the top runners, and we still haven't seen any new characters for the bottom 2.
Yeah, so Hefe looks like they're going to start doing some Sabin checks now. And
if I was one of the bottom 2 runners, I might try to convince my top runner partner to go do some dragon checks, maybe, just to see.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's just you have to do a volume of checks, right? Because it might not necessarily be the right ones.
Magi Master at Kefka and Narsh for the top runners.
Ugh. So Glue is trying to reset the fish in the pond. In order to do that, you have to actually talk to Sid. Otherwise, if you go out of the screen and then back in it, it's the same fish in the sea. So if you ever want to reset the fish that you see, so he'd have to go back and talk to Sid, and then there are new fish. Meanwhile, Hefe going up against Inferno here at Barren Falls. And one of the interesting quirks of Archipelago is that your characters join, I think, at level 3 and not your average level. So that's going to really hurt the bottom runners a lot, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, and hopefully they can find some solution to that. It may just be grinding and maybe hopefully finding an experience egg that they can toss onto that character, whatever character they do. But yeah, it can definitely slow things down if you don't have all the characters you need to progress.
Yeah, it looks like Workin is trying to get his Mog back up because Mog has that tech missile that will actually do some damage against Magimaster. Alright, so Glue allowed Sid to die, so see you later, Sid. And that is Zelfer B's Siren. So that's his 6th Esper. And it looks like Hefe also sent a Pearl Lance over to Zelfer as well. And Possum Morpheus raiding with a party of 26.
Thank you, Possum.
Huge plays to you. Thank you so much. What up, Chadius? Alright, so now that Workin has his whole crew back up, let's see if he can... oh, God. Okay, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, this is a nasty fight.
Yeah, and the only thing he could do is basically Tech Missile and Sword Tech 1, because he doesn't have that Ultima that Hefe has, right? Ultima, I think, was on that Esper that that Zelfer found for Hefe at the auction house.
Yeah, so Zelfer's doing Moogle defense. We know this is going to be his own economizer. The newest thing we're seeing is Hefe doing the Phantom Train, and we just saw a whole bunch of stuff come down, I think.
Yeah, so that's an Esper for Zelfer, that's Stray. And Lone Wolf 2 is an Aura Lance for Hefe. So the interesting thing about Phantom Train, and this is kind of a scummy move, is you could actually go get the item out of the caboose and then reset. Since Multi-World can't unsend your item, Zelfer gets Stray and you don't have to finish that check. So that's kind of an interesting thing there. As Workin gets Stray from Kefka at Narsh. That's another Esper for him. So he's up to 5 now. And he's done with Moogle Defense. No, not Moogle Defense. Kefka at Norsh. Which was unfortunately... Oh, no, that was their Stray. I'm sorry. The gem box was the Tizen Thief.
Yeah, so Glue found a gem box at the Tizen Thief. I think we already knew about that from the other team doing that as well.
Yo, Rem, chill. Oh, no. X-Magic. Okay. At release, Realm hit the right person on the second time. Oh, look at this. Zelfer immediately taking advantage of that Pearl Lance that he got from Hefe. Wow. Very nicely done there. The question is, though, where are the characters for the bottom players? Drinks Glue is running out of checks to do, so he's in the auction house now. Let's see. Yeah, Drinks Glue doesn't have any checks left to do other than Auction House and Dragons and Kefka's Tower. So that's really unfortunate. Knuckly Kong also raiding with a party of 2. Welcome, Knuckly. We're doing some co-op multi-world. So if you want a quick refresher on it, I'll put up this graphic here real fast. while our runners are off doing nothing at the moment. The top runners have the same ROM, the bottom runners have the same ROM, and it's left team versus right team. If you want more information, AP General Chat in our Discord is where you could find stuff to help you set up Archipelago Multiworld, and you could start doing some of this stuff yourself. Drinks Glue is parked outside of Fnatic's tower. We talked about this in the pregame, Joker. You love to see it.
Yeah, so for Fnatic's tower, you can kill the dragon.
Ooh.
You can. Oh, well, there's your character.
Well, no, he needs Strago. He needs Strago in order to get Terra. So at least we know a character chain. Meanwhile, Imperial Camp was just a Genji armor for the bottom runner. And Zelfer is doing the same thing that Glue is doing, because I think Zelfer's out of checks too. Yep, yeah, Zelfer is out of checks.
Yeah, so for this, in AP, the gem box chest at the top is not gated, so you will get the item for that. The dragon in the tower is not gated, so you can get the item for that. The only thing that is gated is after you defeat the Magimaster boss, or whoever's taking the place of Magimaster at the top, and then going down to get the character, you do need Strago for that. And so we do know that is a Terra for the bottom runner, but we do need that Strago first to get that.
And unfortunately, at the top of the tower is just a red cap. So the interesting thing is, like, yeah, it kind of sucks that you're doing this for a red cap, but if you beat this boss, when you get Strago later on, you don't have to walk up this tower again. You just go to the bottom and you'll have the reward at the bottom.
Yeah, and I also suspect we might see the dragon fight too, since we're here.
Oh, for sure. I wonder what the heck our runners are going to do, though. Do they have... I mean, Glue only has 4 Espers. At least Zelfer has 7 and could probably pull from a variety of magic. But thankfully, it's just Ultros 3 here at the top. So this is not that big of a problem. Meanwhile...
And that's another red cap for Glue.
Another Mario hat. Yick.
Yeah. So, simultaneous red caps from 2 different checks in the multi-world. Yeah, so this particular seed is just being very punishing to the bottom players right now. Just there's not that many characters that we've been able to find. Like, there's no characters except for Terra, and Terra's gated behind Strago. Meanwhile, the top runners can basically go anywhere and do anything almost.
Yeah, and that presents a real big problem too, is, our top runners, they even have different characters than one another, right? Like, Hefe has Strago and Sabin, and Workin has Locke and Gao, right? So there's so many possibilities, and that's where this can become hairy, because character or player 2's first character, or 4th character in this case, could be locked deep behind a chain on player 1's world. Alright, so we do have the Skull Durgan here for Glue. He has a couple of tier 3 spells, which is nice to have. And thankfully, neither one of these are absorption for Skull Durgan.
So we do see Ghost Train taking the place of Tunnel Armor on the top. So this is the South Pharaoh Cave check. That is a lock check.
Yep, and Workin using Xfer from Mog, because we did get the Magitech upgrade through the Magitech factory. And it looks like Hefe is going to pick Locke. Do we know what Lone Wolf 2 is for the top player?
I don't know if we've seen that yet.
But it does look like Carbuncle is going to Christopher Workin from the White Dragon, and a gem box is heading back in the other direction. So still no character for our bottom runner here.
Yeah, and it's going to really come down to, like, what does Christopher Workin have open that he can go do quickly to see if he can get something for Glue. Because Glue is, has parity with Zelfer for characters, but is behind by 3 Espers.
Well, not only that, but Glue is out of easy check. When I say easy checks, I mean like checks that are gated by characters. He still has a few dragons, right? Because you could do both of Kefka Tower dragons, technically. Although nobody wants to do that. You could do the Toilet Atma spot, and it looks like he's going into Kefka's Tower now.
I mean, this is Glue we're talking about. So
I mean, he doesn't really have... The only other options he could do is Auction House, I think. And we already know Auction House is just more stuff for player one, because we saw that from Zelfer. If I was Christopher Warken, I would go for Gao stuff. That's the fastest, I think, checks that he could do at this point in the game. Besides this one. This is also a very fast check, too. Meanwhile, Hefe finding the bad news that Kefka at Narcissus is Magimaster, right?
oh my gosh, the ancient castle Figaro engineer is Christopher Walken's own Terra.
Wow. Yeah, so we started... Didn't we start... They started with Edgar, didn't they?
I don't remember, but it like so far.
I think it was
been...
Shadow, Edgar, and Celeste for the top runner. Anyway, yes, it is. So when you do see a character show up, that is your own character.
And Zelfer is pulling the same thing Glue is, just because they don't have anything else to do right now.
Yep. All right. Getting past the Magimaster for Esper number 7 for Hefe. Meanwhile, it's tough because, like, if you're Christopher Warken, no, you don't need this Terra, but yes, you do want to go do the 2 checks in Ancient Castle, right? So, and
the Terra could opens up 4 more checks, I believe, which could have the answers that Glue needs.
And look at this. French Vanilla Atma here at the Inferno spot. Oh, God. It's Doomgaze at the Atma spot. But Zelfer has I think he bought an Economizer and has learned Ultima, so this is not going to be too bad of a problem. Oh, and another Doomgaze.
The Economizer is from the Narsh Moogle defense, I think.
Okay. I saw it in a relic shop, too, so I thought maybe he bought it. But yeah, top couple of Doomgazes on our screen. Ice is going to heal Doomgaze, so Warken is not going to be happy about that one.
Glue is through that Atma.
Nice.
And we have
Womp. I spoke too soon, didn't I? About that single fight against Doom. What a disaster. Speaking of disasters, no, I'm just kidding. This will be fine. It's Katana Soul here in the Collapsing House monster in a box.
So that'll be an offering for Hefe if he gets through this. And oh yeah, he given.
Oh, that's God. Glue did not pass his math test. Dear Lord, who rolled this?
Okay, it looks like Glue's connection might have got... Okay, he's back. All right, we're good. Sometimes that happens with AP. You just have to make sure it gets connected again so you're not like losing track of stuff. But Christopher Warken is through that Doomgaze. Will get his Terra.
Oh,
and as you can see from the text, the Glue is going to get through this red dragon,
yeah. So this red dragon at the Skull Dragon spot is going to send yet another character to Christopher Warken. Dear Lord. Could you imagine if this is gated behind a single character Doomgaze fight? That would be stupid.
Like if everything that all the answers Glue needs are behind that Terra.
All right. Meanwhile, Hefe done with the Collapsing House. There it is, a character. It's Gao.
Okay, so we do know where we do have a 4th character actually in the seed now for the bottom runners.
Oh my God, where was Sabin? Because Warken doesn't have Sabin.
Saban was in the auction house 10K for the bottom runners.
Oh no! Oh no!
So Glue would have to do the auction house to send Saban up to Workin, and then Workin would have to do collapsing house.
Oh, that's awful.
There's a ton of stuff that Christopher Workin can do right now because of all the characters.
Well, he doesn't even have Saban, and he has so much stuff to do. We haven't seen any of Terra's checks. We haven't seen Phoenix Cave. We haven't seen the Ancient Castle. We haven't seen either one of Gao's checks or Yeti checks.
I actually was not keeping track of all the dragons that Glue has done, so I may be down 1 or 2, I think.
Let's see. Glue is on 1, 2, 3, 4 dragons. And I have also messed up here as Zelfer is on 3. Alright, so it looks like Hefe is heading into the weapon shop, and one quirk of the weapon shop is you actually get both of the items here because Terra is not guaranteed in the logic. So he gets both the Genji Glove and the Dragon Horn. Christopher Workin gets his own Phoenix at the Ancient Castle. So that's going to put him up to 7 Espers. And Glue is just chilling. Literally. Yeah, so the interesting thing about Multi-World is that characters, Espers, and items for either runner can be anywhere. So Leet River can certainly be holding on to a character for runner 2.
Simultaneous ice dragon fights on the bottom there. And it looks like, based on what we're seeing on the left-hand side, that this is going to be another Esper for the top player.
And the rich get richer, Joker.
It looks like Glue reset out of that, though.
Oh, Magitech Gao.
Well, that'd be nice if we had this less.
I mean, it's still a character, and we could do
yeah,
it. Finally, we could do some more checks.
And we're probably going to see those checks very shortly on Zelfer's side.
All right, so Ancient Castle is a bust for player 2, as Workin sent both Phoenix to himself and the Force Shield over to Glue. Meanwhile, that Ghost on the Ground at Cave on the Veldt means it could either be an item for your own world, or it could be anything for your partner. Yeah, Heal Force is basically better than a Cure 3 single target, so... And this is a disgusting fight for the Veldt. No thank you. See you later. Alright, and that's Glue's 5th dragon down, I believe. 1, 2, 3... No, that's his 4th dragon down, I'm sorry.
He had a reset, so he probably had to fight the red dragon again. Yeah, so what happens in this situation is because the Archipelago item was already sent out, it's not going to send out another copy. So Glue is really just fighting that again for the checks on his side and nothing else.
All right, so Hefe finishing up with the Veldt Cave check, sending an Esper over to Zelfer, so that's his 8th Esper. Nope, that is his 7th Esper, according to his tracker, and I believe his tracker. And that's Zone Seek going over to Hefe. Hefe says that he's at 10 Espers, so I must have missed 1 or 2 along the way here.
Yeah, so Hefe, you see, already has like Final Kefka unlocked, but is continuing doing checks because he knows his partner is behind. So needs to try and see if he can get his partner into go mode as well, or at least close enough to go mode that he's not going to leave him high and dry. Yeah, and we also see that Christopher Workin is done with the Ancient Castle checks. So it's probably going to, has a ton of stuff that he can play with instead. Like he has Gal, that's probably fast. I don't know if there's other fast lock checks he can do. Maybe weapon shop if he hasn't already done it. It's got a couple things from Terra that shouldn't be too difficult. And of course, the Amaro check if you want to go all the way back up to World of Ruin Narsh.
Yeah, so Ebbett's Rock here from Hefe. Where the heck was Strago?
That was a long time ago, I think. Narapa.
Oh, that's from the Floating Continent. You're right.
Yeah, they found his own Strago at the Narapa spot.
All right. Yeah, so Runner 1 definitely getting overloaded here. Maybe there's some settings in the... Are there settings in the only thing I can think world generator to like even this out a little bit?
The only thing I could think of is progression balancing, but they have the same progression balancing because they were all created from the same YAML. So that shouldn't be a problem. I think it's just the randomizer decided to be random, and it's possible there is like a god path through the seed that would keep them balanced. Like, doing that auction house early to get Sabin, to get Gao. But, who's going to do auction house early?
No. Never. All right. Meanwhile, Christopher Warkin going to do Lone Wolf number 2. So for those of you that don't know, you get the other item that you don't choose at Lone Wolf here in the World of Ruin at the back of the Moogle Cave. And let's see what it is. It's an Aura Lance for himself. Not what you want. Meanwhile, Drinks Glue is into the Phoenix Cave without lock, and you know what that means. He's going to be doing the Phoenix Cave Dragon and then getting the hell out of here.
Yeah, and the characters Glue does have are pretty powerful at this point, just because of like how much they've had to solo.
Mm-hmm.
So that fourth character, when it comes around, is going to be comparatively weak.
Yeah.
You have to do some really fancy grinding to get that caught up.
Yeah, so far, what we do know, chat, is the only character for Player 2 came from Player 2 doing the auction house, and then that gave Sabin to Player 1, and then Player 1 had to go to take Sabin to the collapsing house to get Gao.
Okay, so the more bad news is that those weapon shop checks were just a Genji Glove and Dragon Horn for Glue.
Ugh.
And that was probably one of the faster lock checks you can do. And we're going to see a 10 fight Curse Shield, which at this point I don't know if you even care about.
No. Not at all. Well, who knows? Because there's still so much missing from the bottom runner's inventory, right? We still need characters. And in Glue's case, he only has 4 Espers, too. Like, Zelfer is at 9, but Glue is only at 4.
Yeah, and Glue... we know Glue hasn't done Auction House because we don't see Sabin up on top yet on the Christopher Warkin's side. But apart from that, he's completed quite a bit of the seed that he has access to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's done everything but this dragon here and the auction house. And this is one of the least desirable checks to do in the entire game.
Especially if you don't have lock, because who wants to just come down here and then have to come back down here again and you have to do locks check.
Of course, the Serpent Trench remix comes on just as Zelfer is ending his Serpent Trench fight. Hey, and it is an Esper for himself.
Yeah, I do feel like the left-hand team is in a slightly better position right now just because there is more on Zelfer than there is on Glue. Because the top 2 runners aren't terribly far apart. I mean, I guess Christopher Walken's down a few Espers, but it's still pretty high up there. Whereas
Yeah.
Blue is just kind of struggling to find stuff to do at this point.
Well, he after this check, well, no, because he already did the only thing he could do in this check. He literally has 2 things left, and that's the 2 auction house checks, and that's it. He cannot do anything else. Because he has done, whatchamacallit, he's done Even Search the Sky, Doomgaze, right? And all the stuff in Kefka's Tower. So.
Glue also, that red dragon ended up being another Esper for Christopher Walken.
Yeah, so that's 8 Espers now for Worken and 5 dragons for Glue. Meanwhile, Hefe completing Burning House and finding Esper number 12, their own Ifrit. I guess that makes sense in Burning House, huh?
That's Tower Skip, isn't it?
That would be Kefka Tower Skip. You're absolutely correct.
Looks like Glue is having a bit of connectivity issues.
Are we sure he didn't rage quit? I'm just kidding, by the way. He is still... Is his stream active? Okay, it just came back up. So we'll get him back when the time is appropriate.
So I think this Guardian is the Tritox spot for Christopher Walken.
Alright, so Hefe is at the bottom of Fnatic's Tower, so since he does have Strago, he is actually going to be able to get all 3 checks here in Fnatic's Tower.
Okay, I still don't see Glue back in the SNI client. But it looks like he is possibly around. Or you just... I guess we're still trying to get him back.
No, he's back. There he is.
Okay. It looks like he still isn't reconnected through the SNI, though. So hopefully he is able to fix that up. Okay, and that gem box at the top of Fnatic's Tower is actually a Palador for the bottom player.
That's Esper number 11 for Zelfer.
And we already knew the Skull Dragon was going to be a Numaro for Hefe.
Oh, I'm sorry, that's number 10.
Oh. That Tritox spot was only an Aegeus shield.
Well, we'll see what happens if Glue tries to send something to Worken here. What is Glue doing exactly?
Not the Opera House, it seems.
Well, he's already done the Opera House and...
I meant Auction House, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's got the Auction House left, and that's really it.
Zelfer has KT Skip unlocked, looks like. I'm guessing that's off of checks. I'm not sure if you're having issues with your microphone or if you're just away from it for some reason.
All right, so we're gonna fight the dragon here for Hefe. Looks like Christopher Walken did send an Esper over to Drinks Glue finally.
Yeah, so got Raiden out of Umar's cave.
Yeah, he's still got 3 espers on his thing. So why don't you go in the text chat and tell Glue to make sure that he's connected. Oh, I see what Zelfer's doing here. He has all of the stuff that he needs, and he has no more checks to do. So he's just basically going to wait on the switches for Hefe to send in his characters. So he's going to clear out all of Kefka's tower here, as much as he can with 1 member on each team. And then he's going to go ahead and wait for Hefe to finish up. Looks like Hefe sent Shote over to Zelfer. So that is Esper number 11 for Zelfer. And I think Joker disappeared on me for a second. Oh, he went into the chat to talk to them. Meanwhile, Christopher Warkin finds Bismarck at his Welk spot. So that is Esper number 9 for Warkin. So that's final Kefka unlock for him. But his partner still only has 3 characters. And Drinks Glue is fighting... Is he fighting the Intangier here? This is a bold strategy there, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off for him. Alright, so Hefe sent a Ragnarok over to Zelfer, which I think Zelfer will appreciate at some point, but not right now, because he is still looking for characters.
Okay, yeah. It just looked like Glue was not connected on our side. He said he was seeing stuff, and I had him type in the chat.
Okay.
So we can confirm he is connected. He is getting those stuff. So I think it was just like something on our end just didn't show him as connected.
Okay, perfect. Thank you for doing that. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, we still don't have a character number 5 or 4 in Glue's case. And we know the Opera House is not the answer. Actually, no, we don't. Did Hefe do Opera House? Let's see. Yes, he did. Okay, so taking a look at both Player 1's trackers here, Joker, it looks like our next character is either at Mount Colts or Phoenix Cave. And I think that's it. That's the options we have.
Okay, did Zelfer already go...
and Terra's stuff.
Okay, so Terra's stuff is possible.
And Gao's stuff. So
okay, did Zelfer do any of Gao's stuff?
Zelfer did both of Gao's checks, and neither one of them were a character for himself.
So that ended up being a dead end.
Yep.
Although it looks like we might be finding something here.
Oh. Hefe sent Locke over to Zelfer. So that's character number 5 for Zelfer.
So who knew it was Opera House Dragon the entire time? And that's why, the rule of thumb I always say is just go kill dragons.
Yeah, so the only thing that Drinks Glue has available to him check-wise is the auction house. So I don't know if he's grinding for levels or if he's grinding for money.
And again, like even if he does that, that is just going to dead end at Gao. So it really is upon like Christopher working to get those dragons down. Because I'm guessing that lock is where more stuff is going to be at.
Yeah, so here are the options for where our other characters can be. Because Warkin has done locks, so this check that Hefe is doing is not a character for player 2. So our options are Phoenix Cave, all of Terra's checks except for Welk, and both of Gao checks. Because Hefe did all of Strago's checks, and he has not done Mount Cult's.
Hefe also is on 2 dragons right now, or 2 dragons.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep, let's put that into consideration.
And those are fairly valuable dragons since it was show and lock.
Yeah, that lock is incredibly important, as we've come to see in this seed.
Meanwhile, Christopher Warken is fighting L Magics, which is, never fun.
No. Well, remember, Christopher Warken tried to do this first, and he had to reset, so this is a little bit of revenge for him here. Meanwhile, Zelfer, with nothing else to do, actually he could go do lock checks, but with nothing else really to do, is going to go ahead and feed Sid some bad fish and kill him. And there it is. F's for Sid in the chat. Meanwhile, Hefe going to the Velt. This is new information for us, for the top runner. And it looks like Zelfer heading into the weapon shop is going to give yet another character to Hefe there with Gogo.
Okay, we are seeing the Opera House fight. Did Hefe already do Opera House fight?
Yes, he did.
Okay, and so we already know that this is not something that's going to pay off.
Correct. Yes,
But
Zelfer
hopefully-
choosing the Archipelago item there. Can go pick up the Flame Shield when he gets Terra. Oh, here we go. It's auction house time, baby. Glue finally getting on the right track here.
Well, hopefully Christopher Warken will be able to just go right into World of Ruin Opera House and get that lock too.
New information for us over on Zelfer's screen.
Yeah, this is the South Figaro tunnel armor check.
Yeah, we haven't seen this for our bottom runners yet.
Okay, the Opera House was a Torado though, so that is an Esper for Glue.
Yeah, and oh man, it's Imp Robot time.
And that is that, yeah, that's Inferno there, taking the role of tunnel armor. A much more scary machine.
Yeah, for sure. But still a machine nonetheless, and is weak to lightning. So this shouldn't be that big of a problem here.
Christopher Warken is doing Terra's Imperial base check, Esper gate check.
Alright, so
Going to find a bunch of...
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say Hefe ends up with 2 Espers back-to-back from Velt and from Zelfer's South Figaro cave, sending him Fenrir, so that puts him up to 14 Espers.
Okay, Imp Robot is done, and I guess Glue decided to sit through that because he has nothing else to do.
I mean, he could reset if he wants to, but... yeah. He can't... it's not like he can go do anything else. Alright, so... we're doing Sealed Gate Cave here from Christopher Warken, so this is new 411 for us, because we haven't seen any of Terra's checks really yet, except for the Welk spot.
And where did they get Terra? Do you remember?
No, I'd have to go back and look in the log for that.
Because it looks like the left-hand team does not have Terra yet.
Yeah. No idea. If I had to make a guess, let's see. If I had to make a guess, it would be Edgar's checks. Yes, it was.
Yeah, oh, yeah, that's right.
Was,
It was engine room. It was engine room.
Yeah.
I
I was just looking at the tracker of who did what.
Yeah, as soon as you said
a
engine check,
dream.
I was like, oh.
The double Gigantos here for Hefe, but he already has so many levels. Definitely don't need this many. Definitely don't need the double Gigantos.
So, looking at it, it looks like the left-hand team is only one character away from being able to go into, like, finish this up. Because they just need that one character for Zelfer, and then I think they both have Skip at this point.
I don't know if Zelfer does.
I'm pretty sure I saw a check skip from him. I know Hefe has...
he just got a 12th Esper there. That's what it was. Or he had his 12th. He got a 12th Esper somehow. Meanwhile, just a Pearl Lance at the sealed gate. And again, another double Gigantos fight here in the... in the Serpent Trench.
Yeah, and we haven't... Did we see Serpent Trench on the Christopher Walken side yet?
No.
Okay, so this is going to be new information.
This is new information here. Yeah, so Glue got fed up of waiting at the auction house. And that's really unfortunate, because that will give him a path to another character. So, it looks like Christopher Walken going to go talk to the little girl, and if the little girl says, no, you're not going to take my Archipelago item away, we have no idea if that's going to be a character or not. So
he's just skipping the little girl and going straight forward, though.
Yeah, I would still talk to the little girl. Oh, it's his own Setzer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
This seed is just really punishing for the bottom half.
Another
That's a
Esper.
Siren.
We're gonna do the whole damn seed here, Joker Mage.
Well, it looks like it, unless someone starts fighting more dragons. Because I'm like, so far we do know that that's something at least. And we'll see Zelfer do the lock check at the bottom here, because this is Phoenix Cave, so we'll actually get to see what the bottom half's lock Phoenix Cave check is.
All right, well, the good thing about Christopher Walken getting Setzer here is that opens up more checks, and more importantly, that opens up a lot of fast checks, right? Because we have Colin Janin, we've got Search the Sky, and we've got Daryl's Tomb, all of which are pretty freaking fast. Meanwhile, in the chat, Knuckly Kong gifting some subs. Thank you so much, Knuckly Kong. Really appreciate that. We are doing a marathon for Multi-World, for Multi-Thon, actually. So we're going to be running a 2v2 Multi-World race similar to this for a marathon, and all of the donations and subs that we get in our Twitch chat go towards the charities that we will be supporting during our marathon runs.
Okay, so Zelfer's doing the Phoenix Cave Dragon right now. I think Glue has already done that.
That's correct, yeah. Meanwhile, look at who the boss is here. It's Goddess for Christopher Walken. Yuck.
And Hefe is doing the White Dragon fight, so more dragons. That makes me happy all the time.
Which one is this? This is in Narsh?
Yeah, this is where the Ice Dragon normally is.
Okay. Mog, unfortunately, can't stay alive over there, and that's one of Walken's main characters. So, fight
yeah, this
not
is
being
just
fun.
a rough fight.
Alright, so Drinks Glue finally gets past Doomgaze at the Atma spot, but it's not anything he wants. It's a Genji armor for Christopher Walken. Meanwhile, it is a Force armor at the Ice Dragon spot, so that's another dragon down for Hefe. And that is a Shout going over to Hefe from the Red Dragon spot. And it looks like it's Fenrir at Phoenix Cave, so that's Esper number 14 for Zelfer. So not a character at Phoenix Cave either there, Joker Mage.
Yeah, they are so close to being able to like finish this up, because Hefe has had the final Kefka unlocked for quite a while, and as you can see, Zelfer's just one character away. They both definitely have KT skip, so it's just a matter of getting that last character and then go skip to statues, take out statues, and win this.
All right. Meanwhile, yep, there's that Esper that we saw before, Fenrir at Phoenix Cave. Questifer Worken, meanwhile, is still fighting for this Setzer. And just kill the goddess. Forget about Mog. He's not worth it.
We got another reset on Blue's side. I'm not sure what he saw that he didn't like.
I think he's just resetting out of the tower. Oh no, maybe he reset from the dragon? I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I'm not. Okay, so he's at the ice dragon. I thought he might have already defeated this one, but I'm not sure. Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, that's a marsupial to the face.
And it looks like Christopher Walken also reset out of that goddess fight, unfortunately, so we'll not be getting Setzer just yet.
Meanwhile, Zelfer is just chilling above Kefka's tower.
Yeah, Zelfer at this point has probably cleared all the checks he has available. Just needs one character to have go mode, and so it's just probably waiting for Hefe to find that one character for him.
Yep.
And the Atma weapon out of the chest, that's a pretty nice find. Enough that he goes into the menu to replace that striker. Christopher Walken is doing the goddess fight again.
Yeah, it looks like Zelfer is going to take out the side statues, I believe. Yeah, that's what he's doing here. Meanwhile, did we do Yeti Cave yet? Yeah, Walken did Yeti Cave. So this is not going to be a character for player 2 here.
What checks does Hefe have left that we haven't seen yet?
Mount Cult. And
Did we do Elite River yet? Oh no, he doesn't have Terra.
He doesn't have Terra. Just Mount Cult and Zone Eater, because he's got Go-Go.
Okay. Which of those?
And any of the dragons that he hasn't done yet.
Oh yeah, I'm telling you, dragons are where the answer is. That's where I'll put that as my guess, is that you got to do some dragons.
Meanwhile, for Worken, we've got Leet River, Zozo Tower, and that's it. Yeah, so it's either behind one of Terra's checks, one of Saban's checks, which Worken doesn't have, or,
so that Terra,
or a dragon, one of the dragons, one of the many dragons.
That Terra is at the Figaro Castle basement.
That's correct. So Hefe's going to get Terra right here.
And we know Setzer is off of one of Terra's checks. Specifically this one that we're seeing on Christopher Walken's side. So I guess there is a possibility that we're going to see something at Daryl's Tomb or Kolingen.
Yeah, like I said, Setzer is great because his checks are super fast. So he could do, like, at this point, it's just unfortunate that you have to pick the right check, and volume is what you kind of need to go for here, right?
Yeah. And we are coming on the hour 40 mark right now, so hopefully we can get an answer soon. But can you just confirm that what Blue's Esper count is at for me? Because I think I lost track.
He's at 3 and 6, and then 6 dragons. So the only dragons that he has done are Mount Zozo and Ancient Castle because he can't get there, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
All right, so Setzer for Christopher Walken here finally.
Yeah, is Christopher working on 11 Espers?
Yes, and 2 dragons.
Okay, yeah, because he just got Kieran from Glue. Yeah, so we got the Doomgaze. Just have to get through Doomgaze and you'll get Terra.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is, at least with Zelfer, he has 2 characters to sort of clear the path. With Glue, he's got to 1v1 all these bosses in KT, which is not ideal.
I mean, it'll be entertaining if he pulls it off. And we do know he has that dog in him.
Yeah, we haven't seen what's on the sides, though. We did see from Zelfer what was up the middle, and it wasn't anything too crazy, I don't think.
We already know Goddess and Doom are off the table.
Oh, God, this is not a fun 1v1 fight here. Air Force likes to just basically AoE you down. Hopefully these couple of bolt spells will kill it, because Air Force is a glass cannon. And there it goes.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Christopher Walken searching the skies here. This is some new information for us, Joker, because we don't have Setzer from Hefe.
Right. And this is just a bunch of stooges flying around. Yeah, at this point, I don't think there's really that much that's going to be threatening for any of the players, really, except maybe like Glue because he has to solo some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, like, we're pretty far along. There's pretty decent levels on everyone. So there should be answers for most problems.
All right. So yeah, Setzer's got the Ragnarok on, and Welk is this first spot, so this is not going to be a problem. It might just be an annoying fight, because it might take a while, but it's not going to be a problem. And we're down to just Larry left for Quay Wark. And Larry is dead. So let's see what we got here. Oh, it's not a character. It's an Esper, though, for Glue. Remember, Glue doesn't even have Esper Go mode yet. Meanwhile, here is Air Force for Zelfer and opening launcher. You love to see it.
So yeah, so the Guardian spot is just Welk. As long as I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem. No, it's not. It's done already. Christopher Walken going ahead and checking Velt Cave.
Yeah, so Walken hasn't done Velt Cave or Floating Continent yet. So he's got a lot of checks to do. Meanwhile, it's another dragon for Hefe, so that's his 1, 2, 3, 4th.
As far as figuring out bounds for when we do this as the actual event in March, we might want to just confer with some of the more regular Archipelago Worlds Collide people, see if there's options that we can do either in the weights files or in the host file to try and get this a little bit more balanced out.
Yeah.
But sometimes, I mean, this could also just be a really unlucky roll as far as the pathing goes.
Yep. Well, there's always the old-fashioned let's go vet our seeds first before we give them out. This is a completely unvetted seed, right?
Yeah, we kind of were sort of teaching ourselves how to set this up before the match. But now that we have like sort of the exact steps to reproduce this, we could definitely do some vetted seeds just to make sure it looks good. Archipelago also lets you generate spoiler logs. So in theory, we could just take a look at the spoiler log too and say, does that make sense as far as the path goes?
Oh, I do have a spoiler log in here.
Yeah, those usually get generated unless you specify in the host file to not generate one.
Okay.
None of the players will have access to that spoiler log unless the person who generated the seed or uploaded the seed to the Archipelago website gives them access.
Interesting.
Did you learn something really cool?
I know where Sabin is for their second player, because that is what the that's what the playthrough suggests, and it's not it's not in a fun spot either.
Did you find a Strago for the player 2? Because that is gating Terra.
Let's see.
Meanwhile, Hefe is doing MOBAs too.
Yeah, so Strago is at Doma Siege for player B. So where is Cyan?
Oh, wow. Yeah, we haven't seen Cyan on anyone's. That didn't sound good.
It's in the auction house.
Wait, whose auction house?
The top player's auction house.
Oh, that's disgusting.
That's not even the worst. There's who did I say
just
before?
seems like those are...
Sabin is in a bad spot too.
Is it Burning House?
No.
Okay. Oh no, it couldn't be in Burning House because Sabin's gating Strago, right?
That's correct.
Okay. God, where? All right, I tell me, please.
It's at Toilet Atma.
It's the top player's Toilet Atma?
That's correct.
Oh my gosh, that's horrible.
Yep.
What did you roll this like seed on? Like the Necromonicon?
No, I have no idea. So this would be a really good time to have hints.
Oh yeah, this would be an excellent time for hints, but we're not doing that. I mean, it's fun knowing now, like just like how evil this seed actually is.
It's pretty bad.
At the same time, there's got to be some kind of answer here because Zelfer is only one character away.
There are 2 characters for player B in the auction house for player A. There's another,
that's awful.
There's another character for player B at Atma. And there is, let's see.
So what I'm hearing is like being flush with all these characters is actually detrimental to figuring it out.
They're red herrings, basically.
Because all of the stuff that player B needs is in player 1's non-gated checks.
Correct.
This is awful.
Yeah, so Gogo is stuck behind player 1's Cyan, which we haven't seen yet. Let's see.
We do see Zelford going ahead and getting bum rush because why not at this point?
Yeah, why not? Let's see. Where's Gao? Oh, we've seen Gao at Collapsing House. Let's see. Yeah, Cyan and Umaro are both in the auction house. Dirt Dragon is Locke. We saw that already. So that's also not character gated, right?
Okay,
Atma is Sabin for player B. Where else is... Let's see.
The Zen Thief was just a Ragnarok sword.
Strago is behind player B, Cyan. Celeste is behind Shadow. Where the hell is Shadow? Edgar is at the end of... Edgar is also behind Shadow. Where is player B's Shadow? Let's see. Player B Shadow is at Imperial Camp, so we need Sabin from
Atma.
From Atma.
That is disgusting. That is absolutely
This is
disgusting.
a really awful seed.
Like, I just want to, let our audience know that it normally isn't this bad.
No.
This is like a pretty awful path through it. So really, the main thing the top players need to be doing. Okay, it looks like I think Glue is still on 8 Espers.
Yes.
Unfortunately, but the main thing that the top players probably need to do is Auction House, and they're probably not going to do Auction House because they have all their character checks to get through.
That's correct. They have, yeah. So the things that are really hampering player 2 right now are 2 characters are in player 1's Auction House, which is horrific. And one of them is that Atma spot, which is in Kefka's Tower, which you're not going to, right, with all these checks. And yeah, what's the other one? Let's see.
There was Locke and Gal, I think, but we already seen where they are.
Yep. Yeah, the game wanted you to get Cyan and Umaro out of the Auction House and get Sabin from Atma. To beat the seed.
That's horrific.
Should we give them a hint? Can we put them out of their
leave
misery?
that to your discretion.
All right, once we hit 2 hours, we'll give them a hint.
Yeah, do we just want to tell the top player to check the Auction House?
No, we'll just tell the top player that you need to put you need to throw money at the problem. How's that? I'm gonna put it in the chat. So yeah, there you go. I gave them the hint. Let's see what they do. It looks like Christopher Warkin is heading to Zen Thief. So he's taken my advice so far. This is not the right advice. And unfortunately, I gave this piece of advice to Hefe, who's already in the middle of Phoenix Cave. Which, did Warkin do Phoenix Cave? No, Warkin did not do Phoenix Cave. So this is new information for us. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Dirt Dragon. Yeah, Zen Thief was a Ragnarok sword, which I'm sure Glue appreciates but doesn't care about because he needs characters. Yeah, this seed is super bad. I don't know who we have to suck up to never get a seed like this ever again, but we got to figure that out stat.
I mean, it may just be we have to vet the seed before the March event.
Yeah, let's see here. Weights file. No. Create a spoiler trap file. We did that.
We can. One thing we could do is use excluded locations in the weights file for the players, and just exclude all of the Kefka Tower checks and the auction house checks. That's something I do regularly in my normal AP Worlds Collide YAMLs.
Oh, that does actually work?
It prevents any progression items from showing up at those locations. So you'd Exclude Atma, exclude the Skull and Gold Dragons, and exclude both Opera House checks.
How the heck do you do that? You'll have to
Or
teach
Auction
me
House checks, I mean.
You'll have to teach me your ways.
I will, after this, after we're done, I will just send you a copy of the YAML I usually use for Worlds Collide. And you'll see where it says excluded locations.
All right, so Drinks Glue finally gets his next character here.
I think that may be the best way to go about it, because what's really hurting the bottom players is that it's like Auction House and Kefka Cower checks, and those are things you don't really want to be doing.
Yep.
So we might as well just put them on the exclude, so they're not like issues for the actual March run.
Fair enough. As Zelfer is showing us what happens when you go to the Coliseum in the late game. Meanwhile, Hefe is at the end of the Phoenix Cave, so this is new for us. Ew. A red cap. Oh, he's going to Zone Eater next. I don't know if he saw my hint.
Well, Christopher Walken is in the right spot. Just got the 50K item first, and not one of the Archipelago items. However, Drinkslu does have lock now, so can probably do a bit more stuff and see if any of that pans out. I don't think there was anything interesting in those lock checks, though. I'm not sure.
Nope. I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter, right? We need to find the characters for Runner 2. And we know where 3 of them are. They're in horrific spots. They're in the Auction House, both slots, and in Atma.
Yeah, and it sounds like many of the other ones are gated behind those 3 characters.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
Shadow is behind Sabin, and then there are 3 other characters behind Shadow. So...
And you did post it in the race chat, so it's just a matter of are they checking the race chat.
Yep.
Yet another dragon horn. The debilitator is not what we are looking for, so that's, I think, the 3rd time Borkin has missed out on the auction house check. But yeah, Glue is able to now go and do some stuff. Flame Shield or Archipelago item. That gives him tower skip at least.
And Glue just, sent Go-Go over to Christopher Walken from the weapon shop. Hefe, meanwhile, dodging all of the Chancellors in Zone Eater. I wonder if he's going to be happy with what's in here. Let's find out. Yeah. He won't be thrilled, but... Oh, did Walken not follow? Oh, he's not. He went out of the auction house again. Wasn't that the second time he was in the auction house?
I'm not sure, but looks like he decided to go and do terrorist checks now.
Well, I mean, this is not the answer. But at least Glue thinks that he's making progress. Until he's done with this check in like 2 seconds. Hopefully, our runners take my hints a little more seriously here. Alright, so Hefe's heading to the auction house. He saw my hint. And that is Fenrir for Christopher Warkin. So that's Esper number 12 for him.
And Gogo's Cave is only a Modwin. And it's not even player 2's Modwin, it's player 1's Modwin. Rich get richer, like you said.
So the Walk of Shame now, Drinks Glue heading back into Phoenix Cave.
And I sent you a message in with sort of a screenshot of the stuff that you have to do for the YAMLs.
Okay.
But
Nice.
I could also just edit the YAMLs and send them back to you too.
Okay. Sounds good. That, I think, that's doable. I don't mind having stuff at Kefka at Narsh, because that's not that far out of the way, right?
Right.
The Kefka Tower stuff, the Auction House, and to Zen Thief suck. Alright, so there is Umaro for Zelfer. So Zelfer will be in go mode once he finishes one fight, because that's what it takes to transition the character to you.
I've got 3 ings to get through.
So Hefe, now that he has successfully given Zelfer his go mode, is going to kill Sid so that he can unlock Final Kefka finally. Oh, and
I didn't even realize he hadn't done that yet.
Alright, so Warkin did send Glue his 9th Esper from Zozo Tower, but he's taken a river ride here, which is not the answer. I tried to give them a hint. I tried, Joker.
Yeah, no, I saw it. But yeah, I think we may want to just, include those exclude locations and then just vet the seed before to make sure that there's nothing really screwy. And to vet it, we could possibly just look at the spoiler log and make sure there's nothing really weird.
Yeah.
Like if the spoiler log is saying your first step is do Kefka and Narsh, maybe re-roll.
Yeah.
It's fine if something's there. Let's just not make it the first step to completing the seed.
Yep. I didn't realize that I had the spoiler log, and I should have looked at it before I gave it. But hey, lessons in Worlds Collide are always learned the hard way. Am I right or am I right?
I mean, I knew the spoiler log existed, I just didn't tell you, so...
So you're saying this is your fault?
I'll accept some blame, but I'm not the one who actually rolled this seed. So.
That's true. I'm going to be the one that gets the blame, not you.
Okay, yeah. So
I think Zelfer has to fight something in order to unlock Kefka.
It looks like it was unlocked though. Is something going on? Let's see.
No, he's got to fight a fight in order to unlock Kefka, I think. Or does he have to do a check? Oh, this is quite awful.
That's not the one you want.
No.
Let's keep a eye on that. Okay, it went through. Okay. All right, we're good. Yeah, because we have encountered strange bugs in Worlds Collide before. I know there was like one exhibition match where they were trying to complete all checks.
Right, yeah.
And there was a mismatch between how many checks there were actually in the game and how many were required by the randomizer.
All right, well, Drinks Glue is heading into the auction house, finally. This is not what I had wanted, because now I hope that Warkin doesn't think, oh, I was supposed to get Sabin and then do Sabin stuff, because that's not going to help.
It'll get Gal, but that's it.
That's true.
Yeah, it's also. I mean, it's also just unfortunate that that Gao ended up being a dead end, which made Sabin a dead end.
Yep. All right, so the rest of these bosses should be pretty much pushovers for Hefe here.
Yeah, I think we can. I think it's perfectly all right based upon this situation to include those exclude location options in the next YAMLs that we generate from.
Yeah, I totally agree. I didn't realize that was even a thing that you could do. I just figured, hey, let's go vet the seed first before we give it out. But that makes even more sense. All right, let's go see if Workin now. Yeah, he's not going to the auction house.
Yeah, he saw that Sabin and was like, oh, I can do Sabin stuff. There's a Valiant knife just sitting in the Dragon Neck Coliseum World of Balance before it becomes the Coliseum.
Yeah, so Knuckly asks, is multi-world difficult to set up as a runner? So if you're just running this, all you need to do is install Archipelago and do what you would normally do for Auto Tracker. And that's pretty much it. But you do have to bring up, basically, instead of, or in addition to running the ROM on the emulator, you need to run the Archipelago client, the text client that you're seeing on the screen here, right? You basically have to do that. And that's all you need to do. If you already have the Auto Tracker set up, you pretty much have multi-world set up.
And at the 2 hour, 5 minute mark to our 6 minute mark, we have our first entrance into Final Kefka.
Here we go.
Which is why we don't like Auction House and Kefka Tower checks.
No. Well, I think because we are finally getting Final Kefka, I think we got to put on a Dancing Mad track. What do you think?
Go for it. Let's do it.
All right.
When there's nothing holding you back, what would your thing be?
All right. Of course, there's an ad. Please stop. Ad. Nope. Another ad. And here we go. Meanwhile, we're doing Imperial Camp here. I don't remember what this check was, but I know Hefe did it. Is this Gao?
Yes, this is Gao, I think.
Okay.
Or no, Gao is Collapsing House. This is probably nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, considering Hefe did it and it wasn't what we needed. Yeah, what a brutal seed. Speaking of brutal, it's leader for Hefe. Not even deciding to doom it. Oh, goodbye, Yeti. Sorry if you are a Yeti enjoyer. As that was not it.
Okay, yeah.
Drinks Glue is partying with the Moogles.
Yeah, why not?
Kupo. Alright, so Hefe down with his last boss before going to fight the big boy himself, Final Kefka. Fixed ice in a chest there for Glue. Excuse me.
Oh, might be non-communicative for a bit, but I'm still
Sure.
here.
Okay. Alright, let's see if Christopher Workin, there he is. Going to the auction house. Please go to the auction house. Thank you. Goodness. Yeti is the best airship pilot. He knows what he's doing up there. Okay, a little Doom Dragon action against Drinks Glue. And almost on cue here from this cover song, we are getting tier 2 for Zelfer. Is this the Archipelago item that we are looking for here for Christopher Warkin? Let's see. Oh no, this is the $50,000 item. It's a Debilitator. Drinks Glue getting past those Doom Durgans. Just barely, though. Hey, here's a character definitely for Glue. Let's hope Christopher Warkin goes back into the auction house a second time, because there are not one but two characters in the auction house for player 2. That's how bad this seed is. As Drinks Glue gets his dream, the Yeti, as character number 5. Alright, so Warkin back in the auction house here. And does he get another Archipelago item? He does. So that's going to be Drinks Glue's go mode finally.
Okay. So we actually have stuff going on now.
Yeah, so we have Umaro heading over, or just went to Drinks Glue, and now we're going to get Cyan for Drinks Glue. So that'll be his 6th character, and that'll be go mode here.
Yep. So I just posted in the AP general chat the revised YAMLs for player A and player B. So that will include those excluded items. So if you want to try doing in the test one later on, those are there now for you.
Great, thank you. All right, so Glue now with go mode, Warkin now with go mode. We're heading to Kefka's Tower, folks.
Yeah, and Warkin hasn't done any of Kefka's Tower because, having all the other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Glue is pretty much through everything. Like, I think Glue got through quite a bit of it. So we may see Glue just sort of get his stuff together, go in and finish it up. But I think Christopher Warkin still has to go, at least we'll have to get through the statues if he uses Skip. Yeah, and with all 3 statues up, you kind of have to figure out how you're going to divide your party to be able to take each of the lanes.
Well, Glue has had 3 strong characters essentially the entire game, right? So he basically just has to divide one into each of his party members. Warkin, however, has so many characters that it kind of doesn't matter how he divides, because remember, the maximum scaling is level 40, and his big party is going to be way higher than 40, and you do want to bring some meat shields with you just so that they can have the Moogle Charm at least.
Yeah, it's always nice having Moogle Charm mules. We did see Fenrir come up on Zelfer's side because he is on tier 3 and does need to avoid that calmness.
Did Gleer clear all the lanes already? I actually don't know.
It's possible. He had plenty of time to do a lot of crazy stuff. I mean, we'll see shortly.
So all right, well, we were on track with the cover song I'm playing, but okay, here comes Tier 4, and Tier 4 music just kicked on, so I guess we're doing okay, huh?
It works. It just works.
All right, Todd Howard.
Okay. Yeah, and Glue is discovering that, you have to go take an extra fight now.
Yep.
Or we might have to go into his chat and just give him that little heads up.
And I think Zelford is going to be done very, very soon here. Not really much in his way as he's got go mode.
Do we want to give Glue a slight heads up on that?
Yeah, I gave him the heads up. It might just take a second because I think the stream is on a little bit of a delay here.
Okay, Christopher Walken is through the Welk, which is one of the statues, or I'm not sure if that might be the Guardian too. I'm not entirely sure what the layout is for there. But yeah, we do see Christopher Walken looking for a fight. And Zelford looks like he's already done.
Yes.
So GG at 214 something.
214.03 for Zelfer.
Okay, and Hefe, his partner, is on the final fight as well. Might have a slightly harder time just because, Zelfer and Glue had all the time to just go level their main party.
Yeah, but Hefe also did 42 checks.
Okay, so we should be fine.
Yeah, so this should do it right there.
There we go, GG's. Yeah, and it really did just come down to how soon you were able to find those last few characters for the bottom runners.
We'll see if they want to do some interviews here.
Or if they just want to yell at you.
Hey, listen, this is why we practice. This is why we practice.
Yeah. I hope everyone else is on board with using exclude locations from now on.
Hefe and Zelfer, congratulations on your victory. GG's to you too.
Hello. Thank you.
So yeah, I read the spoiler log, and you were supposed to get Umaro from the auction house, Cyan from the auction house, and Sabin from Toilet Atma. Player
beautiful.
1 was supposed to do that for player 2. And that's how you were supposed to play the seed. So this is a horrific roll by yours truly. So I apologize for putting you two through that. However, Joker Mage has a solution. Go ahead, you want to tell him?
Yeah, so in Archipelago, you can actually exclude checks from having priority or progression items. So I think we're going to just throw the 3 Kefka Tower checks, the 2 Auction House checks, and even the Zen Thief into that pile, and just say don't put anything important at those 6 locations.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Is that really an option?
That is an option.
I've already uploaded the new YAMLs to the chat, so next time we do this, hopefully we won't see like 3 of the characters at 6 of the bad checks.
Oh,
Yeah.
That is good to know.
Yeah, because literally, there is no way you were getting through this seed without player 1 going to either Toilet Atma or the auction house. And that was
Wow. And those were my last places to go, to be 100% honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, you have
As
all
you
the
saw.
you have all the characters in the world. Why would you ever go to the auction house?
Right. Me and Zephyr
Especially
had a
you,
blast
Hefe,
anyway.
who
We got
loves
to
the
catch
auction
up.
house.
Oh yeah, my favorite check of all, you know?
I was making fun of it for a good portion of the seed too. I was like, you should go check auction house. You never know what's there.
He did. He mentioned it several times.
Yep. So, what were your, other than how big of a disaster that was, what were your thoughts on sort of doing the multi-world? You guys enjoy communicating with one another and talking about, what's going on in your world of the seed and trying to figure out the puzzle together?
Oh yeah, we had a blast, if I do say so myself.
We were having a grand old time. Because we both know how these things go, so we were sitting there clearly where I'm just sitting back waiting for characters, and we have no idea where they are, so you just have to keep on guessing. And we both knew that it happened sometimes, so we took everything with a grain of salt and just was having a good time.
Yeah.
I got to do a bunch of things that I normally wouldn't do in an Ultras League seed, like check the Coliseum or just take grind fights for the fun of it. So, I just made the best of it, and Hefe was chugging along. He was chugging along really well too. I have to give him full credit because he was just clearing everything.
He did 43 checks, and you only had the chance to do 24 because you literally ran out of things to do, Zelfer. You couldn't. There was nothing else you could do.
I actually never thought that would be possible in these kind of seeds. Because I'm like, you could do dragons, you could do Kefka Tower stuff. I'm like, there's always going to be something to do. No one would ever run out, ever, in a seed.
I mean,
Famous last words.
The other sort of forbidden option that we could do, just in case, is possibly include Y remove.
Yeah, I like Y remove. We were talking about that too. Like if we had Y remove, that would have opened up more checks for Zelfer for sure.
Yeah,
and would have just made it even harder for me because then I would have gone and done auction house or the Magitech factory, which wouldn't have helped me out any. And yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think, looking at because I have the spoiler log, right? So, Celeste was at Gao Manor for player B. Let's see here. Shadow was at Imperial Camp for player B, so you needed to get Sabin, and Sabin was... Where was Sabin?
Toilet Atma.
Sabin was at Toilet Atma, and Shadow guarded, I think, both Edgar and Celeste. So, I don't know if... Let's see.
Didn't Sabin also guard Strago?
Yes. So
that would have been too good.
So
Strago was guarding Terra too.
That's correct.
Which we saw.
I did notice that. I was like, oh, if I get the old man, then I get Terra. But then I have an old man.
Strago was Doma Siege, so you had to go to the auction house to get Cyan to get Strago.
Okay.
To get Terra.
Wow.
And... yeah, so Figaro Castle Basement was Phantom for player 1, and Ancient Castle was Force Armor for player 1. Blue Dragon was Illumina for player 1, so that wouldn't have helped. Where's Mount Zozo? Where are you, Mount Zozo? Where'd you go? Mount Zozo was a gem box for player 2, and Cyan for player 1. So... Y remove wouldn't have helped.
Aren't you glad I didn't send you another gem box, Zelfer?
What? If I can sell that one too with a natural X Magic realm? Yeah, no, I'm good, thank you.
Yeah, so even Y remove would not have helped in this scenario. So the seed was that bad.
That's really amazing if you think about it.
It is incredible.
The odds of that are pretty slim, honestly.
Well, they're going to be slimmer in future ones, be like non-existent as long as the exclude location option works.
Yeah, I mean, like we were running and we were like, honestly, I felt bad, even though I was doing everything that I could do, and Zelfer was very supportive. It's like, dude, like I don't know what to do. Like I'm trying to help you, I can't help you. Like I'm doing everything I can do. And,
you can only do checks so fast, right?
Right, and he's laughing the whole time. He's like, that's the way it is. Just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing. And I'm like, I understand, but I feel bad. But, like, I am doing what I can do. But, yeah. Man, it was, whew.
There's no sort of, like, which ones are characters, which ones are espers, which ones are items. There's none of that in a multi-world seed.
Correct.
And I know this. So, I'm like, there's nothing you can do. Just keep on guessing. I even tried to have guesses for him. They didn't turn out well either. So, what else can you do? Just keep on trying. I'm going to sit here and see what's at the Coliseum. I found experience eggs. They were great.
So, there was a couple of difficult parts in this seed, actually. There was Doomgaze in Kefka's Tower, right? Where you basically had to 1v1 at Zelfer. And then there was, I believe, Hefe, you fought Magimaster at Kefka and Arsh, right?
I did.
So, I mean, this seed still offered some places where it could be, like, kind of screwy,
And Doomgaze terrified me whenever I found it, because at that point, nothing was going to kill me except for mathematics. So, like, I hadn't saved in, like, an hour.
I think
Nothing was going to kill me. I wasn't worried about anything until I saw Doomgaze, and my heart literally skipped a beat. I was like, I have no idea what level I'm at, and this could be really bad.
Yeah, I think you also had to fake the goddess statue at Volblez.
Yeah, I did.
That
I didn't
bad,
have
too.
to fight. I just didn't check it because I was like, checking it takes time. I just want to get this check done and move on to the next one. So I figured at worst case it would send him an Esper or something. No, it's my character that brought me nowhere.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Even though it's a character for you, you're like, oh god, this opens up 3 more checks.
Right.
And they're fast
And I was
ones
like,
with
oh,
Setzer,
they're
too.
quick.
Yeah. Which is ideally what you want to see at that point. You're like, I need 3 checks that are super fast. So,
Right.
So yeah, guys, any other final thoughts or comments?
Even though it wasn't ideal, I had a ton of fun playing this. Me and Zelford, we go back some years and had a good time catching up and running through terrible seeds and had a blast.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what Hefe said. We just sat back and had a good time, and it really didn't matter that this was a terrible seed because, you got somebody good to partner with. It really doesn't matter. You just had a good time.
I think that's going to do it for Kefka for Christopher Warkin as well. 225.05. I thought it was 04, but it's 05. So get your GGs for Team Left, or rather, Team Right. Right Twix versus Left Twix here. The oldies versus the newbies. The oldies take this one, folks.
We'll take it.
But yeah, thank you so much, Zelfer, for stepping in, sort of last minute here to help us out with getting the race off the ground. Really appreciate it. And Hefe, also thank you for, volunteering to not only race, but to be a participant in the marathon as well. It should be a heck of a lot of fun. And we will drag Drinks Glue and Christopher Warkin in here. Congratulations on finishing that, guys. We're just saying goodbye to our left team here. So, you got anything for left team, Joker?
No, you guys did the best with what we gave you, unfortunately.
I have a question.
Sure.
Yo.
Who rolled that?
Nobody rolled that. The Archipelago did.
Oh.
Who told Archipelago to roll it?
What did we do to make them so mad?
I don't know what we did. But we have a solution. We'll talk about it in just a second. But yeah, thank you, Hefe and Zelfer. Appreciate you guys running. Wanted to get that in before we started talking with Drinks Glue and Christopher Warkin. Hey, guys.
Yeah, my pleasure. And real quick, I just want to thank you guys for putting this on. And, it's always a blast to play. And I'm glad that the viewers enjoy it. And thank you for doing this.
Yeah, thank you very much. And GG's, guys.
GG's, my dog.
Appreciate
All
it.
right, see y'all later.
So Drinks Glue, Christopher Warkin, this is your guys' first time playing Archipelago, and hopefully it's not your last, because this is certainly not normal for a multi-world seed.
Do you want to tell them what was in the spoiler log?
Yeah, so the spoiler log wanted you guys to get Umaro and Cyan from Player 1's auction house, and also wanted you to get Sabin from Player 1's toilet atma spot, and that's how you were supposed to... That was the gate behind the seed. So
those were the characters.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then everything else descends from either Sabin or Cyan after that for player 2. So a bit of a brutal go for you guys, especially
No,
you,
we didn't.
Warkin. You got overloaded with progression really early, and that set you a bit behind because you got so many levels underneath you, or rather, you got so much scaling and needed to get the levels underneath you, right?
Yeah. 3 free checks. I figured, hey, this'll set, this'll set up glue to do a whole bunch of stuff, and no, apparently not.
I was very impressed with all the items I found in the off-beaten path, like the experience egg, the valiant knife, the fixed dice. What was it? The valiant knife was in the crazy old man's house.
Yeah,
And the
something like
experience egg was in the training house. That was very impressive. That was a good one game.
A lot of off the beaten path stuff.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Sure.
Is it a bug or is it intended that the auction house item didn't change?
What do you mean?
I think that was his first time doing the auction house in Worlds Collide. Because I didn't know, because he said, because during our stream,
Yeah, at least
our
in
room, he had said the
Lego,
developer kept popping up, but I told him to buy it
Yeah,
so we would get it out of
the
there.
$50,000 item kept popping up
Yeah.
like 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah, that can happen. It's very bad luck.
Wait, even
So
if you
get
buy,
five
even if
times
you
in.
buy it?
No, if you buy
No,
it,
I
you
didn't
lose
buy-
it from the
Oh,
pool.
oh,
No,
oh.
I didn't buy it. It just kept popping. And
Yeah,
Because we got to
before-
buy it, get it out of there.
Correct. Yeah. So how the auction house works is the $50,000 item will show up 50% of the time. So getting it 5 times in a row is a bit unlucky, but it does show up 50% of the time when you don't buy it. So it's got a really high chance. So it's basically a coin flip. So you lost 5 coin flips in a row.
Yeah, that's like a 1 in 32 chance of. So that is pretty bad luck. In addition to just how the seed was rolled anyway.
Right.
Yeah, because I got it 4 times in a row, and then I'm just like, this is crap. So I'm gonna go do other stuff,
Right.
and because that just the game just hates me.
Yeah, so that was interesting because I remember you going to the auction house, and I wondered if you had got something, but then we looked through the log and we're like, wait, he didn't actually buy the item for the other player, and it just so happened that's where the character was, right? Like, it's just really unfortunate on top of a seed that was also unfortunate.
Yeah.
So
And
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Well, to prevent this in the future, there are a few things. First of all, we can vet the seeds looking at the spoiler logs just to make sure that, the game itself doesn't want you to go through Kefka's Tower as step 1. So that's one thing we can definitely check. But Archipelago also allows excluded locations in the weights files. And so what that means is that we can identify checks that don't give key items, or they'll be basically dead checks instead of like having a progression item. So what we did is put Cizen Thief, Wolf Auction House, and the 3 Kefka Tower bosses that provide checks into that excluded item or excluded location pool. So next time when we roll with those weights files, there's just going to be items there. No espers, no characters.
Nice.
That would probably be helpful.
Yeah, that's something I didn't realize existed until like 5 minutes ago. So.
Well, this is why we do test seeds.
Oh yeah, of course. I'm sorry that you guys had to be the guinea pigs.
I'm used to it.
I mean, it's better that we realized we could do this here in the test one and not during the actual March event.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, and also we wanted to make sure of how we could actually broadcast it, and it was broadcasting pretty well. The only thing was the item rewards were showing up in the log before they were on screen, so we'll have to figure that out a little bit.
I mean, one possibility is that we could have the racers put the log from their point of view, and then it would be sort of like in sync with their video.
Yeah. Yeah, that stinks though, because then you're cropping a screen instead of cropping the actual window itself. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, something else to figure out. But guys, did you enjoy playing co-op even with how bad the seed was?
The seed was great up until the bottleneck, and I had a blast.
Yeah.
Up until the bottleneck.
Yeah, I was gonna get a little concerned if I ran out of chest to open, but other than that, it was fun.
You still had another 100. What was your chest count at the end?
Well, I couldn't get to all the one. I was going through all the ones I could get to.
Oh, that's right, because you
And
didn't
then,
have characters for some of them.
Yeah, and then when we got we thought the hint was for Terra, because Terra had GP rain. So you were saying throw money at your problems, so that's why we were doing, our worker was doing all of Terra's checks.
Mm.
And then we backtracked a little bit.
Yep. Sorry, that was a bit of a nebulous hint, I guess.
No, it was a perfectly good hint because I got what you wanted at first, but then when it kept throwing this stupid 50,000 GP item at me, I'm sitting here going, "That's maybe I'm wrong, and maybe it's trying to tell me to do Terra's hints because Terra's GP rain,
Gotcha.
and I think like that."
Yep.
So
that's why you went to Leet River and got it. I understand now.
Yes.
The fix is in.
So, hey, if I can complicate things, I'll complicate things. It's just the way I do it. But I didn't realize that there's a 50% chance for it to throw the stupid item at me.
That is correct. Always buy the stupid item.
Yeah, I think the strategy is go in with like 90k and then buy the reoccurring items so they're out of the pool, and then you just get the espers or imp robot.
Yep, pretty much that's it.
Brute force.
So yeah, I'm glad that you guys at least enjoyed playing co-op, even if the seed was a bit of a problem for all of us involved. So that's encouraging at least to hear. So thank you guys as well for volunteering to not only race with the practice race, but also to be involved with the stream or the marathon itself. So really appreciate that, and I'm definitely looking forward to it for sure.
Same.
And we do have a weekly async Archipelago where you can play Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide or other games. I actually play 3 different games usually week after week. I have one Final Fantasy VI Worlds Collide seed where my goal is to find 3 random characters and 3 random espers. So in there, I kind of use the hint system to be like, okay, somebody's got my character somewhere. Go find it for me, please. And I adjust the scaling because I usually do a lot of checks. As you clearly guys have seen, you could do a lot of checks with just your starting couple of characters, right? But then I also play a Link to the Past randomizer and Super Mario World randomizer as part of the multi-world async race that happens basically every week. So if you want some practice for playing Archipelago Final Fantasy VI for the multi-world, you could also join that weekly asynchronous race as well.
Yeah,
I knew there was a multi-world Link to the Past, but I didn't know there was a multi-world Final Fantasy VI. So.
Yeah, you could basically do Final Fantasy VI and some other game, right? So I could play some other game, and you could play Final Fantasy VI, and you could find let's just say, you could find my Yoshi at Kefka at Norsh, really. So that could be like something pretty cool, that happens. Obviously, it's a little bit different than playing a race in real time, because a real-time race, you're going to find the stuff, whereas in async, there are times that I'm like, okay, I've done every single check I could do. I need this, that, and the other thing, and I just have to wait until the people find this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah.
So it's a little different, but it at least gets you in the co-op mind state. So it's kind of fun to do. But
yeah, I've done the async Link to the Past seeds, multi-worlds. So the concept isn't foreign. It's just cross-world mind goo.
Yep. So, Drink School, you got any other final thoughts?
So, not Archipelago related, but right now, Shadow Sid is taking out Keith Rocks, and he is about to put him in his casket and close it. Shadow Sid is on Tier 4, Final Kefka.
Nice.
Keith Rocks is in Kefka's Tower. This is huge, ladies and gentlemen.
Why is that huge, Drinks Glue?
Oh, because Shadow Sid's my dog.
Is he on your team?
Oh yeah, of course. He's about to win. That's how you know he's on my team.
Of course he is. So we are in week 5 of Warring Triads. So we have been doing Warring Triads throughout most of the time. So maybe this will be a fun break for you, for our people from Warring Triads for the YouTube side of things. But it looks like Knuckly Kong also took down Organ Dude a little bit earlier on tonight. So with that, you were 1 game down in your match against Team Inferno, but Shadow Sid hopefully going to seal the deal here and bring your team back to 1-1. So that means, Glue, the pressure is on you against Ensign Wesley later this week.
So if you look at the standings, we swept them week 1, and really they have to almost win out to beat us. So obviously if we win, they for sure gone. But if Sid beats Keith here as he might, that almost slams the door on him, even if Wesley pulls out the W. Because the best they can do is tie, and they would have to overcome our margin of victory, and we'd be like about an hour ahead. So they'd have to win 5 matches and recoup an hour worth of time to pass us. So big stakes, but not a lot of margin of error for them.
And if you aren't, if you do really like the Warring Triad seeds, you can in fact go ahead and feed those into our seed bot on the Discord server with the ampersand AP tag to generate an Archipelago seed based on those flags. So you could, in theory, play the multi-world Archipelago using one of the Warring Triad seeds, or the close approximate, as close as approximate as we can get with the difference in the randomizer versions.
Yeah, and let's see, where are you in all of this here, Christopher Workin? It looks like you are...
Yeah, me and Tybalt
He's
are
on the
going
left side.
We're
Group A.
Our team, Team Atma, has sadly been eliminated from playoffs because we have not done so hot. But so we're still having fun. But me and Tybalt are going to do our race here in about 5 minutes.
Okay, great. Well, good luck to you. And if you win, you can get your team's first win, right? Your Team Atma?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so you'll get your first win of the week, which will be really nice and will be great for you guys. So go get them.
That would be nice. But I have not had luck. I am still winless in this event, so...
Well, listen.
Well, that changes tonight.
All it takes is 1 week, baby.
That changes tonight.
So, good luck, and again, thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I don't know. It's Goddess's Edict, and that is my weakest flag set. So, but we'll try.
Any given race day, Mr. Workin. Good luck to you, and thank you guys so much for participating in tonight's race. Can't have the races without the runners, and thank you also for being patient while we helped get you set up with Archipelago. It was pretty easy to set it up, right? You just install program and click a few buttons, and you're there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So great, thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Yep, catch you later.
All right, so Joker Mage, I think that's going to do it for us. This has been a bit longer than normal for this stream, but hopefully we will take care of some of the issues because we do have a 2-hour time limit on our marathon spot. So hopefully we don't get a seed like this for the real deal. So thank you.
It was a learning experience, and we learned.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your help with generating the seed, although I think the runners would disagree. But thank you so much for your help with seed generation. I've hosted a seed maybe once or twice, and I just forget the steps on how to do it sometimes. So I appreciate you walking me through that for sure.
Yeah, no problem. And we have a lot of because we do that weekly. We do have a lot of really smart guys up there in the weekly channel who can help out too and give advice and suggest solutions to problems.
All right, so thank you so much for doing commentary and for tracking with me. Really appreciate it. This is a lot of fun. Like I said, this is a bit of a ridiculous seed, so we had to make our own fun here in the commentary booth. So appreciate you being here with me, and I think that'll do it. You got anything else to say?
Just you join the Discord and come hang out with us if you haven't already.
All right, so thank you so much, and we'll catch you all on the next one. Peace out.